Starting, transcription is starting. We're now starting recording. And we are now recording and transcribing. So welcome to today's Midday Cafe. The date is 3/28. So we're at the end of the month. I want to welcome everybody. And today what we're going to be talking about is really around cross-channel publishing capabilities that you get with Microsoft Viva Connections / SharePoint Online with the modern framework. This is a topic that's come up a bunch lately with different customers. So I thought it would just be kind of wise to walk through and to go ahead and provide a view into that, what that looks like at a quick high level. We're not going to spend, today's actually be a fairly short one, but I do think it's important. So let's go ahead and get started. And right now we should all be seeing here, I do have Microsoft Teams up and running, and I'm looking at if I can get, oh, and we have somebody else wanting to come in. So we'll go ahead and admit Kyla. We have over here a view to Microsoft Teams connections where we're seeing SharePoint Online come through. And with Viva Connections, you get things like the dashboard, and we can do things like most recent. I'll show you that as a piece that we can add here in just a moment. You also get news events, you get the feed. But what I've been pinged at or asked a lot lately from various customers is how to do cross-channel publishing, where you may want to have, you know, not just the intranet here, but folks or even teams necessarily right here in this intranet view. But how do I push content that we are publishing as news to Viva Connections / SharePoint Online and have it go out to other channels like email, like Yammer, and possibly additional? So we're going to take a look at that. Couple of different options you get out of the box. Nothing to program, nothing to do. You simply take advantage of them, and they are here for you. So let's go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our view just within SharePoint for some of this. The first thing that I want to go ahead and put up here is we're going to add to this dashboard. So one of the options you do have, you know, with the mobile view, you get, there is a dashboard view right within, I'm on an iPhone, you could be on Android phone, but we do have an additional option to pull content, and it's what we call the boosted view. So if you go to any particular news story, I'll go to, let's say, this unlocking efficiency, you'll notice here, there is the capacity, and I get this view because I'm the, you know, I could be the author / editor of this, but there is this boost view. And when we select boost, it tells you a little bit more about it. But what boost does is to allow you to have top news always bubbled up for a designated time period, and you can actually order that. So we're going to do this with a couple. It's very simple. You're going to click boost. Notice it says boost until. And it has here the order. We only have this one being boosted. We'll do 2, maybe 3 real quickly. I can then select, you know, how long is this going to be here for? So I could say, let's go ahead and I'll just pick a date out there. I'm going to click save. And then we're going to come on back to our home page. And we don't see anything different here. That's by design. You'll see where we're going to see this in a moment. We'll go ahead and pick the landing. Whoops, I right clicked instead of left clicking. There we go. So let's go ahead and right from here, we'll select boost again. And notice now I can also change the order, right? So that's important to take note of. I'm just going to go ahead and save. And now that we've got 2 there, you could have a number of different stories. The idea is to provide a view so that when people come either to their mobile or to here / connections, that they're going to see those top news stories that are boosted and have it front and center. So to do that, we're going to come on back here, and I am going to go to our Setup Viva Connections, view the dashboard, and we'll select Edit. Here you can see there's the order of the current ones. And if I select Add a Card, I'm getting a phone call. It's nothing you need to worry about. You'll see we have a number. These are just some out of the box ones. One of them, though, is top news. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I am then going to take this particular one. Let's move that card all the way to the top. And I did not do a good job of that. Let's bring it up again. And one more time. Let's just drag this one down. Maybe that'll be a little easier. There we go. So now we've got top news. Now you'll notice there's nothing there yet. This does rely on the graph for some of that data. So it's going to take about 15, 20 minutes before it shows up and then is refreshed and reflected here. But I can just go ahead and say submit for approval, submit. And let's quickly review. I do have approval turned on, and we've gone ahead and added that. So now you can see we now have this top news. That will refresh. I don't know if it'll refresh during our time here, but this is where that would display as we've gone ahead and added things. But for the news stories themselves, the ability to cross-publish manually is built in. So the first thing I'm going to do is come back to this previous one we looked at. And in addition to Boost, you'll note we have things around page details. We also have, if you're not familiar with this, the immersive reader. Just a quick highlight. This is so that users who may have a visual impairment, they can see we have a much higher contrast view. And I can even come in and click play.
This is the background image of title area. Unlocking efficiency with the power of big data.
And so it's actually going to read the story to them. Now, that's not cross-channel per se, but it is a different way of consuming the content based upon accessibility. And so that's built into your SharePoint Online out of the box. And we have another person who's looking to come in, Michelle. So we'll go ahead and let Michelle in. So you can see here, we went ahead, we added, we took a look at the immersive reader. So for accessibility, we had that. But we also have, besides Boost, and we have analytics for an individual page, we have this promote. So if I select promote, here you can see I have a couple of options right here out of the box. Number one, I can save this page as a template. I get asked a lot, look, what if we went in and we construct a page that we want to reuse over and over as a template? Well, here's where you do that, right? Provided you have the proper access, you'll get this capability to go ahead and do that. And then you can not only construct layout with placeholder images and various components here, but then save it as a template. But we also have two additional sections here out of the box for cross-channel publishing or cross-consumption publishing. So the first of which is email. So if I select email, let's just come on in here. Notice it already grabs a view with a link to it and a bit of a brief. I can add a message that's going to go out, and I could say, check out our latest news story. You can put, it could be whatever the authors or internal communications folks want. So I can have that. Then you give it an email address. This can be a distribution list, could be an individuals, can be multiples. I'm going to go ahead here, and I believe I have all company, all employees. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead and select all employees. And I can do that. Notice that I can do additional if I want. I am logged in as, who am I logged in as? The system administrator. So let's go ahead right back here. System administrator, there we go. And we'll go ahead, select that. It's taking a bit. There we go. And I'm going to click send. So an email has gone out. We'll refer back to that in a moment. The other option I also have is Yammer. So when I select Yammer, notice it says go ahead and start a discussion because we're going to add this to a particular area. So, oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's just say, see the latest news. Let us know what you think. Then it would help if I could spell. There we go. We have some options here. Notice this is discussion. It could be a question, praise, a poll. So we could actually do this in the context of a poll and get engagement around that right within Yammer. I'm just going to leave that part as is. And then it says add a community. And so I can select one or more. I can select the all company feed, for example. I can do individuals. We're just going to take that particular one. We'll click post. And just like that, with no setup of anything custom, any particular workflow, we've now done cross-channel publishing to Yammer and to email of a particular news story. Once we're done, we can go and look at that. So I'm just going to quickly open up these two views. So let's open Outlook. And we'll come back here and let's also open up Yammer. So now we go here, System Administrator, and that's an old one. That is not what I wanted. Has failed to these, all employees. Your message because the email provider rejected it. Well, that's not very good. I can assure you it does work here. I've done this in the past. For some reason, though, we're not seeing it here. So we do have that. The other, and I'm going to come on back to Yammer. It's going to want me to sign in through this account. Yes, we're in this particular demo. Let's take a look at the feed. And we have this. We have the all company feed. Here you go. So here you can see there's that same news story that's been published. See the latest. Let us know what you think. Then we can begin a whole discussion here around it. People can click to view it. So it's bringing everybody back to the one news story. They get a brief here, but then as they do click-throughs, we'll get telemetry around that that'll be reflected within our SharePoint data. So we get all of that right here that's taking place for those two cross-publishing. One last thing, and then we're going to take a look at some additional ways that we can do things. So I'm going to come on back, go on back to the landing. Oh, and there we go. It's now refreshed. So remember we did the top news when we boosted to news stories. So here you can see those. Notice if I click see all, this is out of the box web part. As many as I selected would show up here and people can see and then click through. So again, irrespective of how many stories are down here, when we boost a story for that determinate time period, it'll show up in that top news section for that period. And it will show up in our team's view through connections, same way. Here we are. So let's just quick refresh so we can see that showing here as well. And you can see it works the exact same way through Teams, and that's whether mobile or here in the full client. But the other section I wanted to show you is this. So we went through one particular mechanism at a news story level of cross-channel publishing. Another option that is out of the box is this. If we go ahead and click see all, you'll notice it's going to bring me to this particular view where I can see a view scrolling through of all the news that's here. And one of the options that is available to me, again, because of my rights on this site as an author, publisher, is this email news digest. You want to send out a roll-up of a number of news stories, let's say for the previous week, previous 2 weeks, month, whatever that case is. I'm going to go ahead and select that. It then is going to give me each news story still here. but with a checkbox next to it. So I can go ahead and say, I want this, I'd like this, and this, and this, and I could continue to go, but I'm going to go ahead and say next. We're then going to get a very similar to view to what we saw last time. And so again, this is based off of email. So I can go ahead, give who I want to send that to. We can also then, give a message just like we did previously. And then when we're done, go ahead and click Send News Digest. And that'll email a copy to the group or groups that we've gone ahead or individuals that we've sent that to, so that they're going to get this roll-up view. And last thing also, just a quick show you here, within this view, I can move, so I can reorder these on the fly, and I can even take out ones that I may have added. So it's a very easy to use function if you want to send newsletters with just kind of a roll-up view to give people a quick at a highlight glance view of particular stories. And again, with click through, they're in email, they click a particular one, it takes them to that view right within SharePoint Online here, where it's being published. And so that's available. So those are a couple of the out-of-the-box functions of how you can cross-channel publish. Again, we have within any given news story, as the person I can boost, like we saw earlier. Here's those two boosted ones, and you can do additional, and then they appear in that top news tile within the dashboard. We also, though, again, have the promote capability where we can promote to email and Yammer right from here. We also can copy the address just to put it into anything right from here. So we have those two, but let's say that's not it. Well, before I move on, I'm going to get into some custom workflow. Any questions on any of that? You can either do raised hand and I can unmute you, or you can post it into the chat function. I see Michelle is typing fast and furious. No questions, thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions at all from anyone? Again, you can do the raised hand or type. Going once, going twice, sold. All right, so we're going to move on. If you perchance want to make, and I wanted to show one other thing before I jump into that. The other view is this, and so, we have the news view. Let me quick refresh. Particular view, come on, there we go. So we're using the news view. There is the feed. I took the feed out because I got a bunch of junk that's showing up in there from me publishing out a bunch of test ones for something else I was doing. But you can certainly, again, have the feed that does a roll up. But we do have one last thing, is the ability to pull from multiple channels. And so if you select edit for this particular page, and then when we do this, we can have broader reflection again in the feed. But I'm going to go ahead, select this web part here, select edit. And notice I can affect the views here, but select news source. So you may want to select and provide news from multiple sites, right? So right now I could say, hey, I want to have sales and marketing, for example. Maybe the topic center, remote living, retail, the landing, that's this page. And I could show more. So these are all various sites that are here. So we're able to, I thought I saw Michelle typing. Nope. So I can go ahead and I can select, to have roll-up views. I'm not going to do that. We also have recommended for a current user in space, and you'll notice it looks the same for me because these are just the same ones I keep using over and over. But you can have a personalized view based on AI. What we're going to do, though, is say this site, keep it there. You could select other roll-ups. Just a couple of last things. You can quickly affect what kind of view you'd like. So here you can see top news, hub news, carousel view, right, where it's going to pull these larger images. I can do a tiled view. There's a list view. we'll keep the side by side that's there. I can affect the number of posts that I want to show. So if I want to increase that, notice how that actually grew. I can show the number of views. You won't see a whole lot because it's just me here on a demo site, but that's available. We can show the author, show first published date. And then finally, we can enable audience profile targeting, where if I select that, then that will enable me for each news story to target and profile who sees it. So multiple people can come to the same site and different people will see different ones based off of their profile, either in Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, or in a Office 365 group. So that's just a couple of things that were there. I'm going to go ahead and discard the changes. I wanted to get into custom workflow where you can actually push out. And I do see David is typing. So as soon as he's done, I will pause and address that. But I'm going to go back to this See All. And I'm going to select Manage Posts. And here you can see there's a couple of garbage ones. These are just ones I've published. But let's say I want to set up workflow for these posts for me, as a system admin, or I could go even into just the pages view. Let's go to Site Contents, and we'll go to Site Pages. There they are. So here's all the different pages that have been published here. For a future session, I would like to see what kind of site content or all sites analytics. Yeah, I might even jump into some of that and possibility of connecting it to Power BI. That I won't get into, but I can get into some of this other stuff in just a moment. I can show you some of that. But let's say we want to set up a workflow. Notice one of the options I have available here. Oh, this other option is also available. Scheduling, if you turn that on for any individual news story you're publishing, you can then elect to schedule when it will appear or not. So that's available to toggle on or off for the content you're publishing here. But I do have the ability to create workflow. Workflow can be for approval via Power Automate, or I have to jump off. Yeah, no problem. So real quickly, since I already have this, let me just show. I'll show see your flows, then I'll backtrack and we'll show how to create one. And this is because I saved a session as I jumped in here. So it's looking at me with two different sessions. So we have, I did put one. I did put two of these. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this one because we're going to show doing something like that here. Yeah, delete. I don't need that. But notice you can see we have request approval in Microsoft Teams when a SharePoint items is created. So that was where I went in and I wanted to have workflow turned on so that when a new page is created or edited, it had to go through an approval process. And I made myself one of the approvers for that. So that's there. But let's say if we go on back to where we were, right to here, that we want to set up our own. So we're going to go ahead and say create a flow. Now, right from here, this will allow me to set up various cross-channel publishing. Notice we have here send an email when a new file is added. So this would mean that when one is added, it hits that approval status, it's going to shoot an email out and you could pre-designate. So it just happens automatically. Here's that request approval that we did in Teams. We have request approval in Teams for SharePoint item, and it's also kicking off an email, saving my email attachments to a library. You can see we have a whole range of content that's available here that it anticipates based upon this actually being a library in SharePoint for readily creating workflow. But once I've said, hey, that's all great, but that's really not what I want, I can go ahead, click out to see more templates. And then from here, I can take a look at, hey, when I do that, what do I want? How do I want this to set up? So I believe if I go in, post list, oh, that's interesting. I've never done that. Post list items to Twitter after an approval. That's kind of an interesting one. So you could actually do external notifications of something simultaneous and make it manual. But I want, and I'm just kind of alert. There's one for post a message to Teams. Here we go. If one is modified, I actually wanted post a message to Teams. Let's just go ahead and search. Post a message to Teams. Do a search. And come on back here. Oh, would help if I put it here. Post a message to, put it in the wrong one. All right, here we go. For a selected item, if one posts a message to Teams for a selected file, we'll go ahead. I'm going to select that, I think. And just looking at when new file is created, we'll pick this one. It's been a while since I've been in here, but here you can see it's going to validate with this flow what it's looking at. Do we have permissions? And it takes a look. Okay, they're all validated. Nothing to do. I'm going to click continue, and then it's going to give us some options here, right? So site address, I can go ahead. It's going to look, and I could say the landing. Select a particular folder, right? So I can come in here. There we go. Site pages. And when one is created, we can add a team, particular team. So let's say I want to send something to the communications team, add a channel. It's going to load up the channels that are available, general. I can put the body of the message here, what I want it to say. Check out the latest post. Put that here. Here we go. I can add dynamic content. I'm just going to leave it as is. Click save. The last thing I wanted to show with that is this. We also have the ability, just like I have here, we have the Teams one. Notice I can create parallel branches. So if I wanted to send out workflow to multiples here, I can go ahead and start to do so. So maybe you want to do something, for example, to email based off of this. And so again, we can see, you know, with all here, it's looking at a whole bunch of stuff. What do we want to do here? We want to let's create a team. Send an email notification. We had that available. And we can continue to look through different pieces. Maybe it's a custom connector that we want to set up that goes to some other system. It's all available right here. Just wanted to show that you can do this fairly simply. I'm not going to have anything else there. We do have the flow checker. It's going to look for errors here. And then we can go ahead, see what that looks like here. Take a look at this particular flow is ready to go. Yeah, I got it. So there's my flow. It's going to show the run history as it's been running. And now as I look at our particular library here, let me get some water. You'll note I can select, and then I should be able to come out here. And, you know, if we want to kick off a flow, we can go ahead and do that. We can automate from here, and it's going to ask to see your flows. So we could do that, and then we can go ahead and apply one to send something out. So a couple of different options that are available for creating custom without any programming for this particular library. So that's something that's available here to make it simple for you as you create content. And again, I could just come in, you know, and then create a new story, post that, and again, have that workflow kick off. So that's at a quick highlight, cross-channel publishing. There's out of the box. You can use Power Automate to build your own. You can do roll-up views around content using the boosted. But I did get some questions around, analytics on pages at the page level, at the SharePoint level. So I thought I would take a quick look, but before I go on, any other questions for anybody that's here? Yes, no, okay. If you do, you can go ahead and start typing. So the first thing is at the page level, we have analytics available. So here you can see the analytics as we have here. We have page viewers, right? And we can see that. We can see average time spent per user on a page, and we have 7, 30, and 90-day views of this. We also have page traffic by time that's available. That is there at each page level for people as they have permissions, right, to that individual page. And again, here's a news one. Click, same thing. So again, you can see here, the same type of views are available for people there. We also have available, if I can remember, did I turn it on for the whole site? Oh, site performance. I don't believe that's it. Yeah, that is not it. That is for the performance tool. Global nav, what am I missing here? Site usage, duh. All right, so site usage is the one where you get then overall. Notice you do have a download link, so you can download the 90-day usage data. If I select that, it's going to download it. It is in an Excel file format, so I can open that file here just so you can take a look. And you can see here it's giving me unique visitors, site visits, and you can do your slicing and dicing here. And it's going to show that basic data. It's going to show popular content, usage by device, usage by time. All that is here, again, out of the box for you to take a look at what that looks like and be able to grab that data. So that's there. You also have this highlighted view. So again, you can see site usage unique, some of the views we saw earlier, but across the whole site, popular content is being displayed. Then we also get usage insights right through here and by time. And if there's something that's been shared with external users, we can run a report and get a view of that as well. So that's there for the site itself. The question was asked, though, also about Power BI. I am by no means a Power BI expert. However, all this data is just graph data. So if you wanted to connect to the graph, to do a view, and to create a unique custom view of that, certainly Power BI is a tool that allows you to connect to the graph, connect to SharePoint, pull in the data that you're wanting to display, possibly other attributes that we're not seeing here out of the box, and be able to grab that. But we do provide, again, this type of a view for you, the Excel downloadable view, and then if you wanted to do something further in Power BI, that's there. So that's kind of goes above and beyond what I was planning on talking about today. But I guess before we get ready to close this up, any other questions around cross-channel publishing, the things I kind of showed you, around that, around setting up with workflow, anything? Everybody's very quiet. You can raise the hand if you want to talk on a microphone, or you can go ahead. I see David is typing. All right, no questions. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's very straightforward. I think that's the thing. Again, it's just a couple of things, and I really didn't go into this. You also do have the detail history for any given page you can look at. You have the address here, some of the version history you can take a look at for a given one. So here you can see I'm right within here, looking at version history, where stuff's published. That's for any of your news stories. But as far as the whole cross-publishing, just quick synopsis one last time. You can boost, so it shows up on that boost thing, right? By clicking here, you can reorder here and save that. You can also promote to email and Yammer out of the box from any given page. You can set up, you also have available for your readers, if you're not familiar with it, immersive reader for if they're visually impaired.
This is the background image of title area.
Which is going to allow its reading. I don't know if the audio is coming through here, but it allows somebody to listen. Like I'm hearing it read to me right now. So I'm getting that accessibility aspect out of the box. We looked at the boost, the promote, we get the analytics. We also, by the way, and I mentioned this when we went in, have the ability to set up custom workflow. And finally, under See All, once you have 5 or more events, you can create new email news digest to do newsletters right on the fly. Just by coming in, selecting a number, click next. And then from there, adding the distribution list that you'd like and the message where you want to send it. And that's it. So custom through Power Automate, creating a flow to whatever channel you want to send this news to. Out of the box, we provide right here within SharePoint for doing newsletters, Yammer, and email, and that's it. So if there's no last questions, I guess we'll go ahead. I'm going to wrap it up. I will be posting, I believe we're having next week, there is some folks from Voice for Teams that wanted to speak about a couple of different things there with compliance and some other things. They had a desire. So starting next week again, we're going to resume with our regularly scheduled, setting up scheduled sessions each week so you can tune into those with guest speakers. In the meantime, if you have any requests, feel free on any of our posts to let or contact me on LinkedIn. And I will be posting the link to this along with a number of resources around creating custom workflow, around using out of the box, around audience profile targeting, all the different stuff that I either talked about here, metrics, etc. All the stuff that we discussed and or showed here today, I'll have the resources in a post, and that will be at https://aka.ms/HLS blog, not blob. And I'll post, there you go, that's in the chat. So that'll be up there hopefully later today, but definitely tomorrow. With that, this is Mike Gannotti here for MidDay Cafe. I want to thank everybody for attending, bidding you have a great day, have a great rest of the week. And until next time, take care and ciao. And stopping the recording.